If you are in full-time employment, then you must be contributing to EPF, meaning Employee Provident Fund. But do you know that there are some people who do get an option to opt out of EPF? Yes, it's quite possible, and it depends on your basic salary and your employer. Now, in the context of Provident Fund, your basic salary matters, not your gross salary. And if your basic salary is up to 15,000 per month, it is below 15,000 per month, then it's mandatory for you to contribute to EPF. In that case, you cannot opt out. But if your basic salary is more than 15,000 per month, in that case, you can opt out. But the important point to note is that you will have to be a fresher. As a fresher only you can opt out of EPF if your basic salary is more than 15,000 per month. And if you have already opted in, if you have already become an EPF member, then you will not be able to opt out of EPF. Now there are two kinds of employers in the context of Provident Fund. One, employers having private PF trust and employers subscribing to EPF. Now, employers having private PF trust, they manage their own money. They deduct EPF amount from your salary and they manage that amount by themselves. And EPF subscribers, employers having EPF, they deduct the PF amount from your salary and they give it to EPFO to manage it. Now, private PF trust, in that case, those employers will follow their trust rules. And if those trust rules specify that all employees have to be contributing to EPF, in that case, you cannot opt out. Be it 15,000 per month or less than 15,000 per month, you will have to contribute. And in case of employers having EPF, then you do get an option. If you are a fresher and having a basic salary of more than 15,000 per month, then you do get an option. Your employer may not tell you so upfront, but you can discuss it with the company HR. So be mindful about it. But as I told you before, that once you have opted in, once you have already become an EPF member, then you don't get an option. Now talking about how to opt out. If you want to opt out of EPF as a fresher, then you only need to fill up Form 11. There is this form, EPFO form called Form 11. You have to fill it up, and in that form, point number 7 and 8 are quite relevant. In that form, you will have to declare that you have never been part of EPF, you have never been an EPF member and also EPS member. So 7 and 8 points are relevant. You need to look it up in the Form 11. There are some people who do get a second chance of opting out from EPF. Suppose you have been working full-time for a while, now you leave your job and now you have left your job and for at least 2 months you have not been in formal employment. Either you have been a freelancer or without job. If you have completed 2 months without any job, if you have not contributed to EPF for 2 months, then again, if you go back to full-time employment, then again you can tell your employer that you have never been part of EPF. But during those 2 months, you will have to withdraw every penny from your previous EPF. Meaning, once you close your EPF, once you close your UAN number, then again if you go back to full-time employment, then again you can say that you have never been part of EPF and you can very well opt out once you start your second employment, once you go back to full-time employment. And in case of female employees, in case they leave their job to get married, in that case, they even don't have to complete this 2-month time period. They can say that they can withdraw their money saying that they are getting married, and once they withdraw the money and may get married, and in future when they take their second employment, then again they can opt out. So that is very important. Now the big question is, should you opt out? Well, you may have noticed that most employers nowadays, they make employer contribution part of your salary. They make it part of your CTC. It's a cost to company. If that happens, then if you opt out, then that employer contribution will come to you in hand. In that case, doesn't matter if you opt out, you will get that employer contribution in hand. But employers which don't make their employer contribution part of CTC. If it is over and above your CTC, and in that case if you opt out, then you will forego that employer contribution, you will not be getting that amount. So it's very important. So note that before you are opting out, you need to look at it that how your CTC has been structured. If employer contribution is part of your CTC, then you can very well opt out, you will not lose anything. But if it is not part of your CTC, then you are going to forego that amount. So be mindful of it. And second point, that if you find it hard to save your money, then EPF deduction becomes a kind of a forced saving, and some way or the other way you are saving some amount, and EPFO gives you really attractive interest rate. It is 8.25% for FY25, meaning no other such fixed income instrument will give you this much of an interest rate. But if you are someone who want to have control over your money, and someone who can invest in mutual funds, who can invest in NPS, who can do things by themselves, then yes, they can very well opt out of EPF, and they can maybe try to get more than 8.25% from other instruments. So it's totally a personal choice.